Let's go ahead and welcome your first team to the stage. The Houston Outlaws!
Yeah, these guys are incredible from top to bottom. Every single player on this team is a superstar, is a world-class player in their role. And to put them all together, they've made magic happen this season. I think Dallas Fuel is in for one of their toughest battles for Texas yet.
And their opponents, the Dallas Fuel!
It's the Dallas Fuel, the reigning champions coming out on stage once again. Did you already forget how they play aggressive with the brawl compositions? Hanbin's not scared of anybody, one of the best tanks we have in the entire game. Sparkle's Genji, Edison taking over in the grand finals last year, they have all the tools they need. And the flexibility they showcased yesterday is gonna be enough, Jake, to take them across the finish line.
All right. Here we are. This is it, the Battle of Texas. But you know, this feels a little weird. Not just because we're doing the Battle of Texas in Toronto. Actually, I think that feels right. My head feels a little cold. Has anyone got a hat nearby? Oh, hey, look at that. Oh, perfect. Ah, yeah. Look at that right there, baby. Now, question is, can I get a yeehaw? Can I get a yeehaw? Let's do it again. Can I get one more? Yeehaw! Well, I think you got it there, folks. The crowd is ready to go. We're excited, so let's send it back over to your casters. You got Lemon Kiwi and Leg Day.
Yeah, yeehaw! It's the Battle of Texas taking place up north, cold in Canada. What a better way, a rematch of playoffs. Last time in the upper final, and they meet again after being far apart for so long.
Yeah, it's been so long that these guys have not been able to face each other. Fearless has been separated from most of his former family, because this might be one of the longest running rivalries in the Overwatch League between these franchises, but now it's personal as well. Fearless was split off from most of a championship winning roster and struck out alone with the super team that was the Houston Outlaws. But does that mean that Dallas Fuel are going to be suffering phenomenally without him? They've still got Hanbin, they've still got Edison, they've still got Sparkle, and that is so many of the ingredients that created an absolute king tier team.
The Hanbin versus Fearless matchup. It begins on Lijiang Tower, where, well, Fearless has been playing, yeah, a lot of Doom, but it's actually Bernard starting on Control. We saw this yesterday against the Soul Inferno, where they played the D.Va, and a bit of Sigma, and that was a recipe to success against the Hammond of Mag. But what will it be against now Hanbin? Obviously, you don't want to lock a D.Va against a Zarya.
Might not be ideal here. Still, Bernard's going to have to try and pull something out of a hat here. For Sigma, most likely, this worked yesterday. Before the Mayhem set down the ground rules for playing against the Dallas Fuel and doing it successfully. With 20 seconds until we open, it seems like it's going to be almost guaranteed that Houston Outlaws are going to walk down the path that was laid by the Mayhem.
To Dallas Fuel, I know the Dusk are saying it's kind of like this one-trick team. A lot of Zarya, a lot of Bastion and Sparkle between the Genji and the Sombra. And my role start vote was for Sparkle, but who will be in the top 4? The gates open for Control Center, Lijiang Tower.
We're mirrored when it comes to the DPS, both on the Genji, both on the Bastion. Yes, it's going to come down to who can do the more mitigation out of these two tanks. Of course, Bernard getting unlimited damage with that. Blitz already dead! What a snipe from Happy!
And what a quick dash in from Pelican going up against Apex. Get best Genji of Sparkle. Houston, team white. Fuel on the floor.
That is about as quick as it gets. Look at Happy's ult charge, already halfway to his ultimate, but hitting these direct sticky nades is what's really going to make the difference when it comes to these two Bastions, because it might be Hanbin who could be a little bit too slow to actually get the bubble onto the right player, or when everyone's tightly cooked up, they might not be able to get it onto the right player in the right time.
How do you burn past this shield? If you're the Dallas Fuel, this was their kryptonite when they faced the Florida Mayhem yesterday. You either want to go past it with the bubble onto Sparkle, rely on the damage of Edison to burn that down, but it's first the Matrix of Shu. As soon as Fuel step in, the immortality of MCD is there, and Houston burn them!
Feels like near infinite DPS when the Gatling gun's doing double damage through that window. You don't want to be peeking it, and Dallas Fuel decide to try and make the mano-a-mano with their own window, and that means that there's one less tool now to try and break through this choke. And guess what? Happy and Pelican are ready to rain death upon the Dallas Fuel. They swap Humben over to the Reinhardt. Already they've decided that they can't beat what beat them yesterday. It's a brand new angle.
Gotta play them front to back and have a shield like your own. It's Pelican, already so low from his Dragon Blade and barely misses the pin. Swipes at the ankles of Hanbin. No shield for the Fuel to lead them out of this hole. Edison is trying his best. Bliss is trying to provide them speed, provide them options, and Edison doesn't have the tank and the cover he needs. Hanbin is back, but Fuel are staggered.
Bernard's just bringing so much damage to the table. The forbidden combo of the Gravitic Flux and the Artillery Strike here can do so much to absolutely smack down the Dallas Fuel. Two Blaze goal.
Sound Barrier just in time by Bliss! Combined by the Artillery of Happy and Fuel! The R is sad! It's 80% plus for Houston. Are Fuel gonna do anything?
The mitigation simply ain't gonna work. We're into dire straits. Yes, Outlaws have used everything that they have, save the window that will be available soon, but Sparkle's been picked, so his Dragon Blade won't be able to get here in time. Someone needs to make a mad dash for the point, and it's Hanbin who's responsible for this alongside Bliss.
Bliss is already dead. Next up is Hanbin punching in, reconnects with his support of MCD. They have a window, but someone has to touch next. It's Sparkle dashes in. A lot of damage coming out of Shu, and Sparkle gets nothing. Edison at least breaks through with some artillery. 99 for Houston. Bernard solo protecting that front line, and it's Fuel that has some inches and some miles to go. And they'll cap the pool and show some signs of life.
Huge clutches from Hanbin, sweeping aside the Houston Outlaws, who played a little bit too reservedly there on point, allowing for Dallas Fuel to claim a huge amount of space without having to pay the troll toll that Bernard would usually exact. But now Pelican can strike back with his own blade, and if MCD is forced to use an early immortality field here by the tank form of Happy, then it could be curtains for Dallas Fuel.
Hanbin can push up the aggression too. He has the meteor strike, but Pelican is already through. Cuts down Sparkle, 5v4, meteor strike. Hanbin is out of there, and so is Edison. And the Houston Outlaws off of a singular blade. And all the confidence and faith behind Pelican, Houston will get back the point. And Bliss is not alive to touch. Next up is Sparkle on the Tracer. Already dead in the water. And so are the Dallas Fuel. Your first round goes to the Houston Outlaws.
Not the fortuitous beginnings that the boys in blue were hoping for, but Houston, oh, they are ready to ride into a semi-final sunset. They dream of reaching the final day. And Fearless from the bench may be regretfully having to cast down his former teammates into the pits of Tartarus. Quick replay here of how Bernard managed to tax every single one of these Dallas Fuel engages. The second they were on the back foot, it was so easy.
Great placement of that Gravitic Flux too. It caught the entirety of the corner. You know, there was that inch where MCD and Bliss were trying to hide, and perfect timing as they're crossing in, combines with the artillery strike. You have no supports, you have no hope.
Even with both of those defensive utilities and the sound barrier, you cannot beat the forbidden combo. A new look, it's Pelican on the Echo this time. Dallas Fuel are going to be mirroring the Sigma. They've done this multiple times before, and they've made this adjustment a lot more quickly than they did against the Florida Mayhem, which was a big downside in their last match.
Yeah, Pelican can take angles around, but has to be careful. Violet is going to be by his side, kind of like a budget Mercy, just packing Pelican, make sure he can stay committed, can stay aggressive. There is Violet there on the left. Dallas Fuel are okay giving up the space to the point. Now that Houston aren't really contesting it, Dallas Fuel go for the cap. Pelican in the line of fire, wanted to rejoin Bernard, who was stuck on the market side, does beat Hanbin. You got a tank on Houston. They can keep on taking that space, and Fuel might have capped, but they're not keeping it.
Hanbin falling so low, just was not able to remain as a frontline, so Houston Outlaws can just pour into the point. Pelican may have died first, but it was a distractionary effort. All of the healing went elsewhere, and Hanbin was left with no one to help him. Only 35% ult charge, barely even got to fight. Now it's going to be a battle of two windows, yes, but Happy and Bernard are once again coming up to this forbidden combo that we keep talking about. It's so difficult to try and mitigate, and Dallas Fuel don't seem to have an answer yet, despite being farmed by it yesterday against the Florida Mayhem.
Tale of two windows, and that glass floor can come down from under Houston, but Happy just seems to be gapping the action, and when that Amp Matrix is in the face of Dallas Fuel, they weren't ready! Edison fell too early! Houston are farming them!
Only 7 kills in this entire map so far for the Dallas Fuel, compared to 34 for the Houston Outlaws. 2 Sigmas, yes, but at the moment it's 2 fights really the Houston Outlaws need in order to take away our first map from the Dallas Fuel. Not even getting to use that teleport to move on to the point. Houston Outlaws simply using aggression to their advantage. And now this next engagement can be caught by Bernard if the timing's good on the Gravitic Flux.
They can actually go up high. They know Houston are too close and they won't get the teleporter to the point. So Dallas Fuel are trying to surprise them. And they make it! The teleporter right to the hands of Bernard! But Bliss has their back with the sound barrier. And finally the Gravitic Fluxes go! The artillery! The recipe of death comes out of the Houston Outlaws! And they still have all 4 members alive, and 72% plus. Houston are looking so good!
Really cool flank there from Pelican as well. Wanted to make sure that Edison couldn't use the artillery strike for the forbidden combo, so he just dives on top of him, meaning that he can't use that ultimate to follow up on Hanbin's Gravitic Flux. Now there are no ultimates for Houston to try and defend, but what they can do is tax this income from the Dallas Fuel to make sure it's much harder to get to the point. Going to be another attempt at the TP.
Teleporter, and this time they can protect themselves with the photon barrier of Sparkle. But deciding not to TP right to it, Houston rotated back to the point. They didn't walk right into their plans. Sparker so low, photon barrier splitting up the point. Houston congregating on one side, and Fuel find themselves in a pain sandwich. It's only Hanbin and Bliss alive for the final fight of Lijiang Tower, and it goes handily in the way of the Houston Outlaws.
They were shown yesterday how to defeat the Dallas Fuel with a Sigma, and it seems that the Houston Outlaws were paying attention. A special mention to the stats here of Happy, twice as much damage as Edison, 11k to 5.6. Happy right now is dominating in the Bastion versus Bastion duels and being able to tee up these combos so well with the artillery strike. Makes it easy for the Houston Outlaws to sweep aside the Dallas Fuel.
And it was Dallas Fuel that kind of molded this meta and convinced a lot of teams that you need to sign a Zarya and you needed to do it today. But then the meta was cracked and you have the Sigmas, the Doomfist and everything, and Houston studied up on, well, not only what beat them, but what beat the Dallas Fuel. And that Sigma of Bernard was a wall in front of the Dallas Fuel that they felt they needed to mirror with their own Sigma. Dallas Fuel brought out their own Sigma against Florida too, but on the very last map, which, well, didn't turn the series around.
Yeah, a little bit of an earlier adaptation this time around, Lemon. We'll have to see if it sticks as we are going to be heading over to Hybrid next. And this, of course, is going to be the map pick of the Dallas Fuel. So do they decide to go somewhere where maybe Fearless is going to be brought in, potentially a Blizzard world where you might be more likely to see the Winston, or at the same time, King's Row is going to be the choice. And this is certainly very hospitable for the Sigma. This is where Dallas Fuel decided to go last time, of course, against the Florida Mayhem. It was not quite as successful then, but their defense looked a lot better when they finally made that swap over to the Sigma that we are all yelling at them like, you can't just keep running this Zarya. It's getting pooed on.
Disgusting.
Yeah, maybe this time it will be a slightly different story for the Dallas Fuel. We'll figure out how this story continues right after this break.
Yo, crank that volume, turn it way up. Get your weapon, get your blade out. Damage, then you gon' pay up. Yo, crank that volume, turn it way up. Get your weapon, get your blade out. Damage, then you gon' pay up.
Yo, crank that volume, turn it way up. Get your weapon, get your blade out. Damage, then you gon' pay up. Yo, crank that volume, turn it way up. Turn it way up. Turn it way up.
Crank that volume, turn it way up. Way up.
The Houston Outlaws are up in the series after a good tag on Lijiang Tower, I gotta say. And I know the desk, especially Jake, he likes to hype up Houston, but this time he's right. They're looking like one of the big favorites coming into playoffs.
And of course, a major part of being the favorites here is just how ironclad this backline is. You're looking at Shu on your screens right now. And in the bat meta, who better could you ask for on your team than Shu? Look, a single death as Bap on Lijiang Tower, 11k healing done. The most iconic support play of all time might well have been Shu on Havana with a flanking window. If you want a Baptiste who understands how to use Ant Matrix, this is the guy.
And it's not even the numbers about Shu, it's how he enables his team. He puts the cape on other heroes. The perfect timing of Ant Matrix, both on Control Center and here on Night Market. As soon as Dallas Fuel crossing either the main door Control Center or right here when they least expect it. Ant Matrix plus Happy bursting through it, it's pure death.
Just death, destruction, and everything in between. Of course, Bernard for now staying in as we go to King's Row. Houston Outlaws are expected to play a lot more of that Sigma, but we're zooming in onto Happy. What a Bastion gap that was established in that former match. Dallas Fuel, they need to know you're here, Toronto. They need the noise. They need to close up this series. So give me the energy for Dallas Fuel to come back!
Not bad, but where are the Houston fans at? Are they going all the way?
I think they're going all the way.
I think I win.
Yeah,
I think my team wins.
I think you win. So it sounds in here like Houston going all the way, but in the end, the only thing that matters is what's going on in the map. We're heading over to my ends. King's Row. This was not successful yesterday for the Dallas Fuel, but it certainly was a map they're feeling comfortable on. Their strategies are refined. They're going up against these same challenges, the same mountains that stand before them, but previously failed to climb.
One interesting strat that Dallas Fuel did was, well, it was with the Sigma, but similar vein of using the Symmetra Bastion to teleport and surprise. But as soon as that didn't work out, you know, you don't have to beat a dead horse. They went back to what they were known for, the Zarya, the Genji, and whatnot. But will this pull off? They may be expecting a Sigma. They know that Houston, that's what killed them on Lijiang Tower. But I love what Dallas Fuel are running.
Junker Queen, a classic for the Dallas Fuel. Hanbin got a title off of Jotes during our tournaments last year. Certainly was one of the best Junker Queens in the world. On the other side, Houston Outlaws just having a cheeky little damage boosted Widow here with a bubble. Bernard like the swaps, aim for Happy. I mean, for Houston Outlaws, if it's working, why bother swapping? Dallas Fuel have to prove that speed and aggression here will be able to get past Bernard.
Yeah, two options of speed with the Junker Queen and the Lucio. Now you're able to hide in a hotel here. Houston may not see it. Fuel can maybe access that back line. Bernard's checking it quite well, placing the shield there, seeing if he gets any hit markers with his orbs, gets nothing, now positions towards the point. Dallas Fuel now have to regain that space, but they actually teleport from behind. Pelican barely flies away. Hanbin still pressuring Violet. Great immortality there from Shu will allow them to take shelter. Violet missed the bus! And Fuel trade blow for blow! And at the end of the day, it's 3 versus 2 in favor of the Dallas Fuel with Houston closer spawns.
Only healing from Bliss right now though, so Houston Outlaws, they have moments to try and move in. Have actually swapped over to a Widowmaker to try and get a pick on anyone from Dallas Fuel who dare to peek out further. Returning to the Bastion now. It's easy progress on the point here for Dallas Fuel, but remember, they can enter easily with the teleporter. That can be answered with the Bastion's wheels.
The speed, it's gonna come in quick too for the Dallas Fuel. Actually not even needing it. Houston are like, we'll take a take, that's all we really wanted. Here you got the Dupa Cat Pelican. Now they have the overhealth. Now quickly rotating to the left side. Dallas Fuel may not see this coming. MCD turns his back. He has the immortality ready. And Houston dodging at Matrix. Do they dodge the L? It's Houston that re-emerge, but they're getting taken out one by one. Dodge the Bastion, seems okay, and Hanbin stares at him in the eyes. And Houston almost got that second tick, but No Scar.
Pelican still alive in the back line, so this is still a little bit dangerous for the Dallas Fuel, but with Bernard being taken down, they're not going to overextend for a stagger. Dallas Fuel playing very patiently here, considering the double speed boost and the teleport that they have, waiting for Houston Outlaws to overextend and then punish a missed position that they need to use to try and leverage damage onto MCD.
Dallas Fuel gonna start with the artillery. Just getting some people low, forcing cooldowns like Pelican's flight. He's also, Pelican's doing some good scouting, seeing where Dallas Fuel are. They could be in Hotel Houston, have to make sure their supports are counter-rotating against that Gravitic Flux. Photon Barrier for Dallas Fuel to protect themselves. Gravitic Flux, I don't think it got anything. And Fuel, they emerge with the Rampage right through Violet. Bernard gone too. And this is the Dallas Fuel map it's looking like.
Sparkle, the Photon Barrier, it was splitting the Gravitic Flux down the middle. It stops MCD from being affected by the Flux. Amazing positioning from the Dallas Fuel. Now there's only a minute and 20 seconds left. Pelican's been staggered. Wasn't able to pop the duplicate, or felt like it wasn't going to be necessary in that case. And now Dallas Fuel are rotating ults again over to yet another amplification matrix. Violet's going to be a problem though. With this rally, he can interrupt Hanbin's axe.
Yeah, the Zam Matrix come out, the teleport from Sparkle with Dallas Fuel to try and surprise the Houston Outlaws. Pelican copies the Bastion, and there's none on the other side, and the rally keeps Houston Outlaws anchored into this. The Dallas Fuel walked into their own demise, and the Houston Outlaws will cap.
High IQ copy there from Pelican. Just press shift and just tear through Edison and Hanbin. It's difficult to miss a Bastion when he's in wheels mode, but there's plenty of mitigation that Houston Outlaws had ready for that. You're usually going to win those fights when a kinetic grasp is on the table. And while the Houston Outlaws have taken their time, they now have momentum on their side and can start moving forward. Dallas Fuel, they slink around in the alleys, waiting for anyone to try and overextend themselves. Remember that Bernard doesn't have much in the way of escapability. If he gets caught out, it has to be an ammo field to save him.
Dallas Fuel, if they want to do some cheeky Symmetra strats, well, it's only Edison back there, and Pelican will disappear into the shadows, but will Dallas Fuel's attention be cut in half? Worrying about Pelican, or do Dallas Fuel just play the front side, that 5v4? Well, now 4v4, now that Sparkle is dead. Happy back on one of his signature heroes. MCD caught on the angle. Bernard won't allow it. And Dallas Fuel just can't hold this choke.
Oh, Bernard's just so cerebral when it comes to the placement of this shield. Just cutting off Edison from being able to be effective on those off angles alongside Han, but of course blowing up that teleporter for Pelican also meant that it took Edison far too long to return to that fight as well. There's no more combo for the Houston Outlaws with the Gravitic Flux, but of course happy with the overclock, can shoot people while they're suspended in the air, and that may prove just as deadly.
Houston Outlaws, last fight for point B. Gravitic Flux, no barrier, just an immortality. How much do Houston want to invest? They have to go all the way, and they're at a slight timing disadvantage with how long it took to get the point, get the ball rolling. Dallas Fuel trying to push them away with the Matrix. Good grasp there by Bernard. He rounds the corner. Good
rearguard motion from Bernard. This is going to mean that Houston Outlaws can come back in full bore if they so wish. Remember that Bernard can, of course, float up to the high ground using that Gravitic Flux as well. There's the Rampage. It's 3!
Hanbin's in deep. He's smelling Christmas presents, and Hoppy's trying to fire back as best as they can. It's a 4v4. And Houston have a copy of a Junker Queen. Pelican's gone for that now a second time. The overhelp, the speed allows for Houston to maybe take that aggression and send it back. Dallas Fuel now firing with the artillery, gets Bernard low, and Pelican's trying his best to protect them and make sure Dallas Fuel thinks twice. Photon Barrier to allow Dallas Fuel to safely move forward. They have Houston Outlaws spread it too, and the Amp Matrix from Shield makes Dallas Fuel hesitate.
It does make them hesitate and back off, but Houston Outlaws now have used up all of their ultimates. They need to do this via mechanics alone. They've got the cart really close, that means Hanbin has to move forward, put himself in the way of danger. 76 centimeters remaining.
MCD has another Amp Matrix, and the Sound Mirror. Dallas Fuel ain't going anywhere, and Bernard going back to heaven. Houston Outlaws can't keep this going, and there's less than 30 seconds left for Houston to get point B, and they were just 1 meter away.
MCD gets his hero moment, coming in just in time with that Amp Matrix. And of course, now it could come down to Pelican once again with the Bastion copy. This is what claimed first point when they were in dire straits. Touching the point's actually going to be real difficult here. Pelican might have to use his entire flight and might get interrupted on the way. If he copies a slow character, he won't be able to touch. They're going to have to make a dash.
Couple more seconds. Pelican is there, the dupe, the second life. He's on Bastion. Dallas Fuel, how do they mitigate this damage? Someone has to touch it. Bernard is dead, but sparks that overtime wick, and the artillery on the match! Pelican saves the day!
Second verse, same as the first. Another copy, another bastion, another point for the Houston Outlaws, and 1 minute 30 added to the time bank. Pelican again and again grabs this lobby by the reins and demands success for the Houston Outlaws. For Dallas Fuel, though, they're coming up on plenty of resources to stop this one cold. Bernard and Happy once again have the opportunity to combine their ultimates. But remember, last time, that gravitic flux was mitigated by the photon barrier.
The 4-man ante that Violent just threw, and it's going to be about who gets their ultimates first, who pulls the trigger. It's Hanbin on top of Violent! Couldn't get the rampage! Happy turns and burns! Photon barrier may protect Edison, but only for a second. Gravitic flux from Bernard does a good job for Houston, who are lacking in heals, but can depend on Happy. But Sparkers killed two or maybe three, and Fuel somehow turned this around.
Pelican fell for the turret trap. They're all set up on the floor of that high ground, so the second he flies up, there are 4 beams in his face, just instantly burning him down. It was a huge kill from Happy onto Hanbin to mitigate that rampage, but now they have to deal with the artillery strike. Violet's going to be the primary target here. Already got pulled forward by a knife.
Artillery from Edison. Violet is dead. And it's a one-man advantage for the Dallas Fuel. Edison needs help. Bernard, good coverage. Hanbin, the bulldozer, sees Pelican over in Mega. And that'll be a stagger in favor of the Dallas Fuel. And Houston Outlaws can't keep going. The road ends short of C.
Houston Outlaws clutch up 2 points, but can't find the third. What a cerebral bit of baiting from Sparkle, setting up that triple turret on the top. Not your usual play, but knows that Pelican is the only one who can try and challenge that. It demands the attention of the Echo. And also, that photon barrier in the middle of that fight gave MCD so much room to try and duel. It also protected Edison when he's lifted up in the air by the gravitic flux from just being instantly evaporated by Happy. The crowd is certainly feeling that there is a chance for this to turn around. Here's a look at Sparkle.
This was the 2 or 3K he got during the midst of chaos. He teleports up against Shu. This guy knows no fear. I mean, Hanbin's like rampaging super deep too. Dallas, you'll know that they can't hesitate. And dealing with Pelican with the turrets too. Pelican walked into a trap.
Uncanny. He's in his head. Sparkle knows exactly what Pelican needs to do. There was demand, and Pelican was happy to meet it. Let's quick look at the stats of Pelican. 5 final blows, but of course, those 13 duplicates. Yeah, those duplicate kills are when Pelican really earns his paycheck. Those 2 Bastion duplicates earning point A and point B by themselves. And not only that, he touched the car at the final moment too.
Just the awareness. The game knowledge that Pelican has. Junker Queen, Bastion, what does the team need? He will fill the gap. Dallas, you'll head out the gates with the Junker Queen teleporter play. Houston have Pelican on off angle. The rest of Houston pretty stacked on top of each other. The ante doesn't hit Fuel. They surge towards Bernard, who uses the grasp. He's about half health, and Pelican didn't get enough attention. Separated away from the flock. And Dallas Fuel with that 1 kill. It's gonna be a slow burn, but Bliss not able to hide from this damage. MCD is back. It hurts trying to heal this team. And Dallas Fuel are a little bit stuck, but they haven't given up that high ground.
MCD simply can't get the LOS. Well played, sticking in. Oh, where did they come from? They have no idea.
That is a peekaboo play from Fuel. You thought they were hiding. They were scheming. And Hanbin versus Pelican. Bliss into the equation. That'll give Dallas Fuel at least the first tick. Houston Outlaws should be able to get back to contest more if they think it's necessary.
No stagger onto Pelican certainly is going to be incredibly important here. Double Bastion could come through from the Houston Outlaws if Pelican gets the copy. MCD's down, want to pick from Violet again?
How does this happen? Dallas Fuel, that may have just costed them the entire cap. And they don't teleport to safety. They teleport behind Houston. They want to get revenge at the 4-man rampage by Hanbin. And Houston survived the immortality shoe the composure that Houston have. They got the point back.
Violet survives by the skin of his teeth, and now Outlaws are loaded for bear. A nano boost, an amplification matrix, and a gravitic flux. And you bet that nano boost is likely going to be placed in a more reactive circumstance where you just used it to try and save someone from a Dallas Fuel TP aggression.
Dallas Fuel have 2 minutes. Time bank cut in half. Nano looking like towards Pelican. He wants to dive bomb that backline. The photon barrier is an unlucky timing though. Pelican barely getting any healing past the barrier. He gets the Nano in time, and Dallas Fuel escape. MCD left behind! And that is a bulk of the healing gone. Bliss didn't want to pull the trigger on the sound barrier. Even just 1 kill onto Houston. They have farther spawns than Fuel do, but Fuel just can't seem to catch them off guard.
Oh, Bernard just does so much damage. 10 final blows for him, the second most on his team, and he's still holding on to this Gravitic Flux as well. Remember, the Gravitic Flux here is going to be super important when you play between multiple high grounds, because if Dallas Fuel TP up high, you can float over there and help that, as well as just dragging everyone up into these immobile positions.
Artillery and Houston are all in a corner. Is this going to force them into a different position? No, it locks them into the fight! Dallas Fuel push from the front. Happy pulled in with the Gravitic Flux from Bernard. Sees the Dallas Fuel when they wanted to follow up on that. And the longer this fight goes for Fuel, the more unhealthy that they get. And Bliss is impatient. Pops the sound here. Pelican copies the Joker Queen to keep himself alive. The Matrix stares down Bernard. He continues to live. And Dallas Fuel slowly but surely burned down as Sparkle's DPS grows. But Houston never give up.
Bernard just continues to live. He just continues to rain over Dallas Fuel. They can't get rid of a new member of the Houston Outlaws. We came to fight our buddy Fearless, but Bernard do be farming him. Sparkle got as well. Bernard's just tearing them apart.
It's just Edison and Bliss from Fuel onto the point, and Bernard's not letting that final tick go through. It's 84%, 13 seconds left. Is this going to be match point for Houston with a full hold on Kings Row? Dallas Fuel have a rampage to depend on, and Hanbin still has to build that up. And he's staring down the barrel of Violet and Shu, and the Matrix plus the Bastion. That is not something Fuel wanted! Any of! And someone has to touch! No one is there! Houston Outlaws, match point!
By the heroics of Bernard on first point again and again. This man's a guerrilla warrior! Simply slipping around, he's stealthy as a Sigma. Man don't have footsteps, he do be floating, but you can't smell those toes coming. Damn.
I would not want to smell those toes. And the rampage inches past the point. That could have been what got them space. That could have been what, every time Dallas Fuel looked like they're winning the fight, Houston turned it around, and I can't believe that was a full hold. It's a battle for Texas, but this is a slugfest.
A slugfest or a slaughter at the abattoir. Right now, it is looking real solid for the Houston Outlaws. I am in awe of what Bernard has brought to his team. He hasn't had that much time to really integrate, but his game sense, unbelievable.
That's why Florida's team get Coach of the Year, because Houston did some studying. This Sigma, this Bernard guy that they signed, man, he's worth every dollar. Bring it. Yeah, Florida's Coach of the Year, right? And Bernard on this Sigma, being taught this Sigma and being able to counter Dallas Fuel, who at least brought out a Joker Queen. They're not too stubborn to be on that Zarya. And you thought that the speed, the aggression of Dallas Fuel just to overwhelm Bernard was going to be enough. But it isn't. At times it is.
I mean, I'm just continually amazed by the ability of every member of Houston Outlaws to simply take a match into their hands and go, you know what, I win this. It was Pelican twice in a row with those Bastion copies. On Lijiang Tower, it was all about Happy being able to dominate. And on first point of Kings Row, Bernard again and again and again. Just so proficient with these hyperspheres. Look at how he's eating the heals coming in there from MCD as well to make sure that MCD has to get even closer in order to exert his healing pressure and try and keep his teammates up. The game sense is unparalleled.
Yesterday, Dallas Fuel chose Suravasa against Florida. Didn't work out for them, but it's a map that they're most confident in.
Confidence has to be what carries them through, because they're all out of mulligans. They're all out of second chances. Dallas Fuel, your reigning champions, stand on the edge of oblivion. Will they be consigned to doom? Find out right after this.
Mode, and it feels like Simprisa are just defaulting through that far too quickly. Too selective.
Ungodly connection there with the Rampage. And Harbin, he's come up with the goods again. And Fielder goes down. It's going to be a Sal Barry ready for 4-1. Michael's down. Went free. The Dallas Fuel Overwatch League champions.
Texas showdown may be ending very soon. It is match point for the Houston Outlaws. We're going to Suravasa next, Dallas Fuel's choice, who have gone to the Junker Queen to try and counter that Sigma composition, the one that Florida told everybody seemed to be the meta to be, the one to beat Fuel with.
And one of the man who's the architects of the Dallas Fuel's demise, the slayer of the reigning kings, Bernard, the newest addition to this team. Of course, a part of many teams in Overwatch League history, including both the London Spitfire and others. His Sigma on King's Row, look at that damage. But critically, just surviving and being able to partition these fights with his shield has made so many unfair fights for members of the Dallas Fuel that simply can't be recovered from.
He's such a clutch lord. Like, the way that Dallas Fuel would want to engage, Bernard pops grab Flux, and then Dallas Fuel can't move. You cannot get even to this back line without Bernard knowing about it. The way he was spy checking Hotel, using orbs and hit markers to know where Fuel were at all times, stacking on top of his team as the best bodyguard a man can buy. And we only saw Bernard on like, what, one map, and you just weren't sure how much you were gonna see him low-key. We were like stirring the fearless Hanbin pot, but I'm so stoked to see Bernard on the biggest stage of them all.
Yeah, adaptation here, king for the Outlaws. They watched the match yesterday and saw Dallas Fuel get smacked around by someone. Obviously, be like, hey, we've got a Sigma player. We can do that. Easy. Suravasa, same again here for the Dallas Fuel, but hoping it isn't a similar ending to their last series. It would be an ignominious defeat for the reigning champions to go out 3-0 in a battle for Texas against their longest time rivals. Houston Outlaws, meanwhile, they want every little ounce of confidence they can possibly muster, potentially heading into the semi-finals and maybe finally claiming some true glory for this franchise.
Fuel stick to their guns, the Symmetra teleporter with Sparkle leading that charge. And the win condition behind this, can you catch Houston lacking? Can you catch him looking the other way? And get to those supports before Shu pops immortality. But the doors are about to open! The Houston Outlaws on match point! Do the Dallas Fuel extend the series? We'll find out right now.
A speed boost, a commanding shout and a teleporter, speed, violence and momentum are the name of the game, the mantra for the Dallas Fuel, but Houston Outlaws have been very eager thus far to meet it. They've got plenty of disengagement mechanics, especially with Happy having moved over onto the Sojourn, no longer feeling immobile on the Bastion. Instead, the ability to move away at a moment's notice could be important here for the Houston Outlaws.
And Houston have options of close range damage, a medium range damage with Pelican who can dive bomb behind. Happy stay further away, and Hanbin just didn't get enough support. Dallas Fuel were backing away from all of that damage coming from behind. And Hanbin didn't get the memo, and Sparkle takes his taxi out of it. Well, I thought he was gonna leave, but try to see if he can get a trade. But it will be Houston capping second, 19% for Fuel.
One of the things we know about Dallas Fuel's previous Zaya composition is they put a lot of resources into Edison, and that's why Pelican's Echo is so good. It's really easy to hit those tri-shots and those stickies onto the Bastion. That forces out MCD to use his healing and his immortality field to keep that Bastion or the Symmetra alive, and then Bernard can simply put his shield behind Hanbin and block off that healing that can come from MCD, who's had to peel back from the DPS.
Dallas Fuel have an engaged composition. They cannot hesitate. The poke of Houston is stronger with the Sojourn, and especially Pelican, who can burn down that Junker Queen with the focusing beam, and then you can't discount what Shu can do on the BAP. No, sir. Dallas Fuel in the M-Matrix, they can't even go to the door. Sparkle put himself in danger to place the teleporter. The M-Matrix Matrix there by MCD as Edison tried to take advantage. Was able to burn down Violet, but is also staring down the barrel of another Amp Matrix there placed by Shu. It's 80% plus, last fight for Houston.
Time's on out, Bernard ready to go with a Gravitic Flux. Happy's first to strike with the overclock. They can't peek this.
And someone has to touch soon. You see Blizz is trying different doors, and Houston have all of them covered. Dallas Fuel uses sound barrier to engage. One last touch by Blizz, buys Dallas Fuel another fight, and Edison is pulled into the line of fire, but somehow Fuel at close range with the axe. Houston Outlaws are removed by force, and they forgot about Happy, but Dallas Fuel are now missing a lot of healing, and you're seeing them suffer because of it.
Pelican's just invisible. He's done himself a deathly hallow. No one can witness this echo.
Extra support.
He managed to get 3 damage and a kill onto MCD, and then the same here onto the rest of the Dallas Fuel. Touching here might be possible, but it's at best superfluous. Dallas Fuel have to go next.
Dallas Fuel just don't have a lot of options. They don't have Edison is a glass cannon. Yes, he can maybe deal with Pelican, but has he had the space to? No! As soon as they go through the door, there's an Amp Matrix in their face. There's Bernard stepping up with a shield. Pelican knows when to hide when Edison is in turret form. Now we go to the second point with Houston up.
Winning this, it's going to be important once again. Dallas Fuel, they want to be able to play defensively and control these engagements rather than having to be moving towards the objective. Winning the first fight, incredibly important for them. If they can spread out the Houston Outlaws and make sure that they're not playing too clumped together by using this artillery strike to open up, then they can pick off someone who's exposed using a TP.
Maybe Fuel can draw them towards them with a rampage, but Houston know what's coming, and Dallas Fuel walks into the grab flux of Bernard. Dallas Fuel seem to survive it. Photon Bear buys some protection there for Edison. The artillery strike separates the Houston Outlaws, and Happy flies away! And the stop Houston with the Amp Matrix 2. Now can maybe regain this point. Pelican from behind. Sparkle with 3. Fuel are left with 2. 3 on the point to nothing of Houston.
Oh, that was expensive though for the Dallas Fuel. 4 ultimates used, and Bernard himself, dealing with 2 of them, put a shield to the sky for all of the artillery strikes and stunned Hanbin out of the rampage. That's what made it so expensive for Dallas Fuel. Bernard has inflicted so much economical damage, but now Dallas Fuel are going to be relying upon the speed of engagement and catching out Houston Outlaws' mistakes to win these fights, whereas Happy can lounge back with the overclock and poke out Dallas Fuel easily.
Defending with this passion is going to be a lot easier for Fuel, but Happy's looking for targets, he's looking for prey, and it summons the sound mirror of Blizz!
He boots out the ammo!
Well, Dallas Fuel catching them all off guard when Houston thought they were safe! Fuel, don't hesitate!
What a schmove from Bliss! Moved in and booped Happy out of the Immortality field, but Shu put down, so they were able to burst him through. And that's a clean fight there, a clean point for the Dallas Fuel, and it's a good spawn for them as well. They can easily set up on the high ground, considering we're going to Palace next. Oh, the game's looking out for Dallas Fuel in this case, it would seem, and Houston Outlaws still don't have much in the way of ultimates to try and break through this. So what they're going to be relying on is Pelican's off angles. He's playing this like we'd expect to see a Soldier 76 get played, trying to find these off angles and then being able to fly away if he gets noticed.
Dallas Fuel have maybe artillery coming up in about 8%. Houston pushing the small room isn't ideal for Pelican, who's going to go around the coast side, and Edison might be exposed. Photon Barrier ready, it splits up the room in half, and this is not a dance floor you want to party on! Houston Outlaws getting shredded by this Symmetra, and the rally from Violet wasn't enough to unify this team! Dallas Fuel continue to defend!
That Violet rally may prove very disastrous as well. Houston Outlaws not being able to use that for survivability, potentially to stun out Hanbin's ultimate would have been a major best case scenario for Violet, but now that's not available. And of course, with the TP here and the speed, it's easy to get MCD back in time. For now, just a little bit of scouting from Pelican. Remember, his copies onto Bastions thus far have been brutal, and this will give Houston Outlaws double Bastion behind an Amp Matrix. It will be impossible to touch the point.
Happy on Bastion, fighting fire with fire, just like Lijiang Tower with the Amp Matrix. Dallas Fuel dodging, trading blows too, with the artillery there of Edison up into the corner. Dallas Fuel split. Houston have to pick an area to engage, and so they have the grab flux here on the lucky winner, Edison! Double kill for Houston! They take back the point, 62 for Dallas.
forget everything that they had, but it's all worth it for the Houston Outlaws because now they can play from this defensive position with the Sigma. This is where he's at his best, when you can tax your approaches with those hyperspheres and make you have to move past him or through him to get onto those more squishy members. Hanbin, meanwhile, has locomotion on his side. That Rampage can get him directly to the back line and afflict him with an anti, but has to worry about the potential for stuns here. Bernard's accretion is the cooldown to watch.
Now things are equalized 1-1. Fuel needing to retake, and that's difficult to do with the Bastion. But down there in Rampage, it's a big investment. 2 kills and 3! Dallas Fuel storm the trenches, and they take it back.
Oh, Hanbin playing that wide angle. It looked real dangerous against Happy for a while, but finally finds his line, gets both Shu and Violet, and places himself on top of the Baptiste using the locomotion as well. It's a well-spaced ultimate. Pelicans moves over now onto the Genji, wanting to maybe get in a little bit more brawling damage, potentially against MCD, and Hanbin get up close and try and follow up what Happy's been able to lay down, who has an artillery strike to try and open this up. But Sparkle's photon barrier is going to be very important.
Artillery from Happy, forcing Fuel to cower and hide. They actually teleport away. And right on top of Happy! How did they scout that? Houston might have flipped the point, but it's Fuel winning the war at the end of the day! Catching Houston by surprise was the win condition! Well, Houston, they're dead, so they're pretty surprised.
Bernard swaps over onto the Doomfishes to touch, now back over to the Sigma for your regularly scheduled programming. It's another good spawn here for Dallas Fuel. It's on their side of the map, and this means that Dallas Fuel might even be able to take a slightly speed-boosted engagement against the Houston Outlaws if they're found moving. Remember, while Sigma is commuting, unable to move with his shield, that's when he's at his most weak.
Pelican, we mentioned that deadly assassin, but Sparkle on the Symmetra could be vulnerable. The Matrix, the Photon Barrier. Houston want to speed past it with the Sound Barrier. They had a cushion to work with. Bernard creeps past, catches Edison in turret form. Trade after trade at the end of the day. It's 2 versus 1. Hanbin can't hold on his own. Can he get away? He's more than 300 HP. And I don't know if Pelican wants that smoke.
He's got the axe.
Oh, he's collecting it. He said, get out of my face!
Oh, Pelican does survive with the Immo Field's help, but that might well be a first cap here for Dallas Fuel. They've got enough members to make it tick up quickly. And once again, Houston Outlaws are having to go into the territory of Sparkle, so they've got to deal with turrets and almost a fully charged beam as well. They open with artillery.
Artillery for Edison. Dallas Fuel speed on in. There's Happy in turret for him, so Dallas Fuel respect that. They go back to safety, and they don't have their teleporter, guys. Sparkle is dead. Dallas Fuel trying to regenerate their health, and they don't even want to take the fight. They don't want to give an inch to Houston.
That does mean Pelican doesn't have to use the Blaze here. For now, we'll simply be able to scout out for Dallas Fuel positions. Remember that you can be TP'd upon up here. The Pelican might even be enthralled by that potential for a TP, able to slash through multiple people as they go through there. Might be too tempting to try and stop happening. Dallas Fuel instead make a more calm commute towards the point, hoping to get Bernard into close range where the Junker Queen can thrive.
Does Pelican get the blade off before Bliss gets Sound Barrier? And when does that trigger get rolled? Houston eating a lot of damage there from the Bastion nades of Edison. Here's the Dragon Light Bliss! Caught as soon as he had the Sound Barrier. He couldn't pop it in time. And Houston take the fight off of just a second difference, a 1% ultimate difference. Houston, hold on.
Hanbin doing his best there to get away. What Dallas Fuel are doing right now is taking 4 members on the TP and leaving Bliss behind. And Bliss comes around the back and boops people into the TP of Dallas Fuel while they're trying to disengage. Didn't work out that time, but now Happy gets the bird's eye view using the artillery. Bernard can slave us down with a flux.
Houston send us into a 0.5 here of Suravasa. The Gravitic Flux countered by the Sound Barrier. Bliss! The artillery strikes again! Fuel down by 2, and there's no chance they turn this around. We go to the final point of Suravasa. Are Houston going to top 4, or to Fuel extend their lives?
One flashpoint to rule them all. It's going to be the pallet. It's a good spawn for the Houston Outlaws. It's the only one that's remaining. The battle for Texas could come down to this point and this point only. Remember that for both of these teams, winning the first fight is of utmost importance. It's going to be a battle of 2 amplification matrices, but the Rampage could make all the difference. It's what Hanbin's used before to get the first cap.
Houston are at the point first. How does this Symmetra of Sparkle get Dallas Fuel into position of success? And Houston protecting their golden egg here of Happy. The anti from the Rampage of Hanbin only slows Houston, and Bliss has to get involved. pushing Houston one by one. Fuel retake the point.
MCD went on a big flank there and managed to get the amplification matrix behind them. They were all hiding from Edison and it meant that MCD could do double damage from behind. Bliss is one of the most bloodthirsty main supports we've had all year. And this is the time to be picking up those frags. MCD is going to be taxied back, but Houston Outlaws have plenty of tools to try and retake this. Of course, they can control the point here with the amplification matrix. Keeping a touch on there is going to be difficult for the Dallas Fuel, but they can answer with a photon barrier.
The teleporter's used early from Sparkle, and that wall is very far forward, so Houston can just walk past it if they really want to. They don't know what's waiting for them. Fuel are trying to hide, see if they can rotate quickly. They got two options of speed. One teleporter right at the front. Just a bit of a bait. Houston all at half health. Dallas Fuel smell blood in the water. And it's Houston that took the point back. Two happy kills, three! Fuel left our backline unattended. Hodman heads the other way.
If you're happy and you know it, kill some Fuel apparently. Big plays from the Bastion, and Hundun was simply isolated on an off angle because he got caught out during that photon barrier. Couldn't cross in front of the amplification matrix of Happy behind it. And remember, a 2 versus 1 was very palatable for Pelican and Violet. And now Houston Outlaws have 4 ultimates to try and defend this. Dallas Fuel are in dire straits.
Wait, wow, this artillery's going on. Houston are engaging. It's a sound barrier plus the blade against the sound barrier of Bliss. Immortalities buying both teams a few more seconds. Here's the fire back from Happy's artillery this time. Sparkle's so low! He's playing chicken with bombs! And Dallas Fuel seem to have escaped.
Houston Outlaws, they've taxed enough time for Gravitic Flux. Touching's going to become an issue here. MCD is surely going to die.
He got that immortality at the last second that was used at the start of the fight. It's 4 versus 4. The Matrix, the Rampage,
They can't charge!
Houston have done it! Suravasa is theirs, and so is the series. The Battle of Texas lights up in green. Houston are top 4.
Semi-finals bound, the Houston Outlaws, the reigning champions, slain by their longest term rivals here. Sullen faces for the side of the Dallas Fuel. And Houston, with an abundance of caution, wants to keep themselves healthy and ready. We're going in for the hugs, going in for the respect.
They might have been in different regions, but these are brothers in arms. And Houston did it without Fearless. They did it with their new signing. That 30-day contract goes burr. Houston Outlaws with a sweep. But it didn't come without a cost. That was 0.5 of Suravasa. When Fuel started to download them, you thought that the speed, the aggression, the creativity behind the teleporter was going to be enough to get to that backline of Houston Outlaws. They knew they couldn't match up against Bernard. They had to go around that pillar.
The Houston Outlaws showing the tactical depth that they have within this roster, the strategic brilliance of taking those early fights and allowing for this pressure to come out. And you know who's often delivering that pressure? Coming from the off angles. Your player of the match is the one and only Pelican, clutching up on King's Row with the Bastion copies, but starting it all off on Lijiang Tower.
He soars and he roars, and to best, one of the best Genjis of APAC, of Sparkle, to shine as bright as Pelican did. And we already highlighted this, but once again reiterating, the situational awareness in the heat of the moment to make the smartest decision of what to copy. Yes, the Bastion, the lineup of knowing exactly where Dallas Fuel were going to escape in like a 0.2 seconds. And then also copying the Junker Queen if he was left on his own and needed to sustain, if his team needed some utility to engage, Pelican had all the answers.
Pelican simply knew the score in every single fight. I talked about Bernard's game sense, but Pelican, second to none, and his timing, absolutely perfect. Let's go look at his Suravasa stats, of course, on all heroes. 29% of a team's damage, that's nothing to be laughed at when you've got a Bastion also pumping out damage into a Junker Queen who's got no mitigation.
Pelican just left unharmed when you thought that bird in the sky was gonna get sniped down eventually by Edison, by something. Pelican, you can leave him on his own, he's gonna do the work, and he was a menace.
I think all of Houston Outlaws deserve a huge amount of commendation for their performance here today. Unfathomable strategic depth. Like, they looked at what the Florida Mayhem did and said, we're going to do that, and we're going to make sure that when things start to get a little bit faster with Dallas Fuel, that we're able to try and counter that out. Sometimes they had to make huge investments of ultimates, but it paid off. You're using 4 ultimates just to get that position, so it made sure that Dallas Fuel had to use things like their amp it up and their teleporter just to get into the fight rather than using the mid-fight complications like they'd prefer.
Well, Dallas Fuel made their mark in APAC, rising to the top, adapting, overcoming, and yes, not winning the Battle of Texas, but having at least a role star, a true star on their team of Hanbin. But Houston Outlaws, the desk were right about how scary this team looks. You could be looking at one of our grand finalists because they made quick work of their rivals.
Yeah, it was quick work for the Houston Outlaws, so it's a pretty quick day here. And that means that we've got winning moments to share, and the desk can go over all of them. We'll see you later.
여기 싸움이 이기면 이기는 거야.
정리하자 못 잡아.
안돼 나가지 마. 빼자. 내 거 윈도우로 하자. 여기서 하자.
여기서 시그마공해 시그마공해.
오케이 여기 시마고 먼저 해봐.
길게 나와.
야 뒤 겐제필
루시필.
루시오.
드론 뺐어.
가야 돼. 나 못 갔어.
봤어.
나이스.
겐지하면 이기잖아.
Houston Outlaws get to celebrate because they got to punch their ticket into the semifinals. Welcome back to the Deads one more time as we break down the action of the day. The battle for Texas concludes and the Houston Outlaws are coming out on top. How did they get it done? Johnny, you're an unbeliever. You were bleeding blue today and bleeding you did. What went wrong for you?
Me and cooking a bit too hard. Never happens, right? It was pretty one-sided start to finish for the Houston Outlaws. And, you know, me and Jake, we've been talking about this pretty much throughout the playoffs now, that we like the integration of Bernard, actually, because it's going to help them massively as they face off against the Florida Mayhem, perhaps, later on here in this tournament. You know, get the Hangzhou Spark now waiting in the semifinals. But really, it does feel like if you want to win the championship this year, this composition right here with the Bastion, the Echo, the Sigma, you're going to need to play this, right? And then we'll see what happens. But Houston Outlaws coming out with this composition, looking really confident, that is a really good sign for me. And again, we've talked endlessly about the mechanical skill on this roster. You know, the backline especially got Violet and Shu in there, and they're so flexible as well. Violet swapping over to the Ana right here to counter Hanbin's Jungle Queen. That was like the biggest swap in the entire game for me. Yes, I know that Suravasa, they didn't really play it, but this is Violet making an in-game adaptation, just on the fly, recognizing what the Dallas Fuel are trying to do. They just set up the Houston Outlaws for success, especially here on point A. Like, you wanna believe that you can capture point A with a rampage, perhaps, and use your ultimates to your advantage with this composition Dallas Fuel are playing. But like, with these nades just waiting in the window, lurking here from Violet, taking care of Pelican in the air, it's just so difficult for Dallas Fuel to navigate this point. So Houston Outlaws not only making pre-game adaptations when it comes to the compositions, but also making like mid-game reactions to what the Dallas Fuel are making. That is a very strong sign for me, Jake.
For me, Houston have always been unafraid this season to play comps that others wouldn't touch. I look at Ana Bap as a very unconventional backline at this professional level. But Houston, they play it, they make it clean, and they're honestly, I'm guaranteed that's unpracticed, right? They just felt in the moment, you know, this is the right call. We never saw, for instance, Mayhem going over to the Lucio with this Sig comp, with the poke style, but Houston felt, you know, here on push, or rather on Flashpoint, this Lucio's just a more valuable hero, getting you to the next point faster, getting you on these rotations, enabling Genji, and I think their read on the meta seems really clean. I was a little worried that this series Houston would feel like, oh, we have to play Fearless, we have to stick to what's been our comfort zone this season, but the fact that they won with Bernard is exactly what they needed to do to show that they can really be a contender tomorrow for the championship. That's what this squad is after. I think the Spark have to be worried.
You never actually got to share your insight. When you saw Bernard being the pickup for the playoffs, what did you expect to see? Did you actually expect to see him being played in the first match as well?
I mean, when Bernard came into the roster, I think that was really, they were focusing on a Zarya meta before the playoffs actually began. A lot of teams felt, okay, Zarya got a huge buff this patch, maybe she'll be the strongest, maybe she'll be the dominant pick. But it looks like, you know, as things went down the stretch, heroes like Sigma and Doomfist were rising to prominence. So I was wondering, maybe Bernard will be on the roster, maybe he won't be needed. But as Sigma has become more and more clearly relevant in this meta, I think having Bernard be comfortable and confident playing in these extremely high-pressure matches is something that Houston's going to need to take down the likes of the Florida Mayhem or the Hangzhou Spark. Everyone left in this tournament is very flexible. With the exception of the Spark, maybe I think Spark might go down sticking to their guns, playing dive. But I wonder for that match, what kind of look will Houston bring? Will it be a Bernard look, like trying to counter comp? Or will they take, as many other confident teams have, take the test of the Hangzhou Spark and the Mirror? So far, that hasn't been a good choice.
Take the test.
But come on. I think the people do want to see it. But guys, knowing the staff of the Houston Outlaws, knowing Junkbuck, they will be playing what they think gives them the best chance to win. They are here for the championship. They don't want to win sometime in the future. Waited long enough. This is the year for the Houston Outlaws.
Couldn't have said it any better. Let's take a look at the bracket to see our semi-finals pairing. Hangzhou Spark will be going up against the Houston Outlaws, and on the other side we're going to see the Florida Mayhem battling it out against the Boston Uprising. Fantastic matchups. Honestly, this is going to be coin flips for your predictions. Do you see a clear favorite out of those teams today?
I think the Florida Mayhem is definitely the favorite because they've looked so dominant in their group, like the way they treated the Houston Outlaws, the Dallas Fuel, right? I think Florida Mayhem, with their versatility and their roster, they are the favorite, but I'm really looking forward to that Boston Uprising matchup because honestly, we haven't really seen that much from the Boston Uprising. We've seen them beat London Spitfire twice and match Hangzhou Spark in a Winston mirror. The Sigma, are we going to see any of that? Are we going to see more Doomfist? We know what Smurf is capable of, but I feel like we haven't truly seen what Boston Uprising will bring to the table here in the semis.
I got a spicy pred for you guys. A spicy read on the meta.
What is it?
Is that that's going to be a Rhine mirror in the Boston versus Florida. I think they will play Rhine mirror.
Why do you say that?
I think funnily enough, despite losing London Spitfire, I think their legacy has been rebuilt in this playoff because I think they actually, I'm not even kidding, I think they showed all the other teams that there's spots you need to play Rhine. Right, I think for Florida Mayhem, they show when you come to the Sigma mirror, they want to switch Rhine and they believe they need to win the Rhine
yesterday.
mirror.
Yeah,
they do look good, and
he's not tripping. If you missed matches yesterday, like someone on that Rhine actually really scary, and a lot of the teams not super comfortable. I'm pretty sure a lot of teams are happy that London is out of the equation. Alas, someone's still there, so you still technically are in this, Danny. I know you lost to London, but someone's still here, and someone gives you the Rhine. So really, someone is just like the fusion of London and Mayhem.
Yeah,
he's doing it for you.
The Korean Hammerman. Right?
That's right. We dubbed him the Korean Hammerman yesterday.
한국 망치만?
It was 한국 망치man.
한국 망치만.
Yeah, I'm excited. If he pulls it out, I'll be cheering for something.
And I mean, Boston earlier in the season, they were one of the early teams actually to go Rhine. They had like a Rhine Bastion strat before anybody else was touching that comp. And so, I mean, this is kind of deep in the playbook. I don't know if Boston has the same read. They might think they can win with a Queen, maybe with a Sigma, maybe the Doom, but I kind of feel that all roads lead to Rhine. I'm getting that feeling in my bones, guys.
Johnny's just shaking his head in disbelief.
Dude, Chef Jake is just spilling the beans. He's spilling the beans. He's cooking too hard. Like, what are we? Rhine mirror between Boston Uprising and the Florida Mayhem? Rhine mirror?
Let him cook.
Let me cook.
We just saw the Boston Uprising beat Rhine comps twice. And you're like, oh, Rhine mirror, guys.
Nah,
it's complicated, Johnny. It's complicated.
I've seen it.
That's right. No, the people say let him cook. Tomorrow we will be feasting. Not only do we get the grand finals, 2 semi-final matches before that. No, we're also going to hand out more awards. Of course, we have the season MVP as well as the Dennis Havelka Award and much more to come tomorrow. So it is time for us to say goodbye for now. Thank you once again all for joining us here in the arena, and also everyone joined us at home. We'll be back same place, same time tomorrow, and we can't wait to see you for the culmination of the 2023 Overwatch League season.
Get some rest, everybody.
What an incredible day.